Hello everyone, good afternoon and thank you for attending this talk. This project, titled PM2.5 forecasting by integrating graph convolutional, multi-layer perceptron, and long short-term memory neural networks, is a product of a multidisciplinary collaboration among electrical and computer engineering, civil and environmental engineering, and industry and systems engineering departments at the Wayne State University. We are very proud to have two undergraduate students, Abdi Ali and Marisa, presenting this work along with Ali Kamali. Hope you'll enjoy this talk.
We would like to start off by giving a brief overview of what we will be discussing in this presentation. So first we will start with an introduction on some key definitions and familiarize everyone with what motivated us to pursue this project and our problem statement. We will then cover our proposed framework, which includes covering long short-term memory, graph convolutional neural networks, and multi-layer perceptron models. We will then discuss our experiment, results, and our conclusions. To start, PM2.5 are fine inhalable particles with diameters that are generally 2.5 micrometers or smaller. This is about 3% the diameter of a human hair, as you can see in the graph on the slide. Given their small size, fine particles tend to stay longer in the air, which increases the chances of humans inhaling them. And because of inhaling these particles, these can cause detrimental effects on human health, including premature death, lung cancer, heart attack, and preterm births. These reasons were our motivation for this project. The problem statement for this project is looking into the ability to accurately model future PM2.5 levels in Michigan in order to look into the future and potentially find ways to mitigate these problems in order to help human health in areas that are problematic for PM2.5 levels. In addition, air quality is reported by government agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency to communicate air quality concerns with the public. So fine particles can come from various sources, such as mobile sources like vehicles, stationary sources like power plants and factories, natural sources such as forest fires and volcanoes, and area sources like dry cleaners and gas stations.
The United States Environmental Protection Agency has enacted a set of strict standards to monitor and control the PM2.5. Using a nationwide network of monitoring sites, EPA has developed ambient air quality under the Clean Air Act. EPA sets and reviews national air quality standards for PM, and air quality monitors measures concentrations of PM2.5 throughout the country. And so the EPA and the local agencies use that data to ensure that the PM2.5 in the air is at levels that protect public health and the environment. Literature has shown meteorological conditions can largely diffuse, dilute, and accumulate pollutants. Thus, PM2.5 mass concentration is mainly due to meteorological conditions. As air movement influences the fate of air pollutants, any study of air pollution should include a study of local weather patterns, such as wind, temperature, humidity, pressure, dew point, and other weather conditions. According to a recent research study, it was concluded that the meteorological conditions can at least make a contribution of 16% to the reduction of PM2.5 mass concentration. And analyzing the spatial distribution of PM2.5 concentrations, as well as their spatial differences, it is believed to benefit the study of spatial temporal variation of air pollution and provide scientific reference for the control of air pollution. For our study, we originally started by 13 sites for data collection, which was later reduced to 7 sites, including Ann Arbor, Bay City, Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids, Lansing, and Monroe, due to severe missing data. For all these locations, in addition to PM2.5 concentrations, meteorological factors such as relative humidity, temperature, pressure, wind speed, and wind direction data over 3 years from 2017 to 2019 were collected. 2020 data was intentionally dropped to avoid the abnormal behavior of pollution levels due to COVID-19.
Our proposed framework consists of two main parts. data processing and spatiotemporal analysis. Regarding the data processing part, first we perform data cleaning and manipulation to transform the data into our preferred format. Then we use vinsorization method in order to modify the outliers. Vinsorization refers to limiting extreme values in the statistical data in order to reduce the effect of possibly spurious outliers. We use 0.025% as the vinsorization threshold. Afterwards, since we had some missing values, we imputed the missing values using iterative imputation method, which is a multivariate imputer that estimates each feature from all the other features. We also extracted some features using correlation analysis as well as the distribution statistics of the data. Then we scaled the data and divided it into train, validation, and test sets. In the figure, you can clearly see the effect of normalization and vinsorization. Regarding the spatiotemporal analysis, we used three different classes of neural networks, namely multilayer perceptron, long short-term memory, and graph convolutional network. I will explain each network in the upcoming slides. Regarding the temporal analysis of the data, first I'd like to explain what we mean by temporal data. Temporal data, or time series, refers to the data that represents a state in time. Some examples of such data are weather patterns, traffic conditions, and demographic trends. We can see time series in a wide variety of applications and domains, including financial and business, medical, astronomy, transportation, weather forecasting, and so on. Here, in the four bottom figures, you can see that our features, such as humidity, pressure, wind speed, and PM2.5 values, all follow a temporal pattern. To recognize patterns in sequences of data, recurrent neural networks, or RNNs, are commonly used. RNNs can maintain historic information in their memory due to the feedback loops implemented in them. However, due to the well-known gradient vanishing or explosion problem, original RNN is suitable for only short time series sequences. LSTM, on the other hand, is a class of recurrent neural networks which consists of three gates, input, forget, and output, and can maintain information in the memory for a longer period of time. This characteristic makes LSTM a more suitable option compared to the traditional RNN. Here, the figure shows the PM2.5 values over 7 sites in the state of Michigan. The plots show that the adjacent sites follow patterns more similar to each other, which indicates the spatial relationship among the locations. This is why we need a network capable of extracting spatial features. Regarding the spatial analysis of the data, several classes of neural networks have been used by the researchers and practitioners. While in theory, even simple multi-layer perceptron network may be able to deal with the spatial data, these networks usually fail in practice. As an alternative approach, convolutional neural networks, or CNNs, were proposed to deal with visual data. CNNs are capable of extracting spatial features by using some specific layers, such as convolution and pooling layers. Graph neural networks refer to a specific class of CNNs which can handle graphs more effectively due to its structure, and as a result, we are using GCN in this study. To further illustrate the point from a mathematical perspective, we can consider some real-world data that come in the form of graphs, such as social networks. In such cases, representing the data as graphs not only brings additional information about the associations among the data points, but it also allows for a more realistic representation, which is consistent with the inherent structure of the data. A GCN is similar to original CNN in the sense that they both make use of convolutional and pooling layers for feature extraction, followed by a number of fully connected layers. But it differs from original CNN in the sense that it uses graph Fourier transform, which is defined as a projection of the Eugen values of the Laplacian. This feature gives GCN an advantage over traditional CNN when dealing with datasets that are inherently in the form of graphs. Finally, the third class of neural networks that we use is the multi-layer perceptron, which is the most common type of neural networks. The multi-layer perceptron is a class of feed-forward artificial neural network which are specialized in predicting dependent variable, in our case PM2.5 values, based on the values of independent variables, in our case the methodological factors. In other words, MLP models the relationship between input features and the output through a multitude of nonlinear functions. The structure of our proposed model is shown in this figure, which consists of three parts. Starting from top, the input data, which is PM2.5 values, is fed to an LSTM network. The PM2.5 values, alongside with the obtained Laplacian and graphical features, is fed to the GCN network. We should flatten the output of GCN network because of the dimension of the GCN output. Finally, the methodological input is fed into the MLP model. The outputs of the three networks are combined into one, and a series of dense layers further process the data and provides us with the output, which is the PM2.5 values. This model was hyperparameter tuned by using different activation functions and optimizers, different values for the number of neurons in various layers, and different dropout ratios. I'd like to emphasize that we build our network this way because it allows us to extract spatiotemporal features using the LSTM and GCN networks, as well as discovering the relationship between meteorological features and PM2.5 values. The results for the 7 locations are shown in this slide. The orange lines represent the root mean square error, while the blue lines represent the model loss. For comparison, the results of two baseline models, random forest and simple multi-layer perceptron, are also shown here. It can be seen that the results of our proposed model outperforms both of the baseline models in most cases. Also, it can be seen that the error for basicity is higher than the other sites. This is probably due to higher amount of PM2.5 missing values in basicity data. To conclude, in this study we collected data from 7 sites over the state of Michigan. We conducted a spatiotemporal analysis through developing a hybrid model in order to predict PM2.5 values based on methodological features and PM2.5 values over 24-hour time frames. We also compared the performance of our model with baseline models, and the results confirmed that our model outperformed the baselines. As for our future work, we will be optimizing the structure of the proposed model and also will be increasing the size of the training dataset. Finally, I should mention that this work has been supported by Richard Barber Interdisciplinary Research Program. Thank you for your attention.